Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of December 20th, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, as the week starts, we are entering Mercury shadow. Yes, Mercury is entering shadow. I know it might feel like I just said this. Well, that's because Mercury retrogrades about 3 times a year, sometimes 4. And so this is the beginning of the shadow that will lead to a retrograde that is taking place for most of January 2016. Now last year, or rather 2015, we're still in 2015 right now. Last year, 2015, the Mercury retrogrades that took place essentially took place in air signs. So when we have Mercury retrograding through air signs, it becomes about reconsidering, right? And thinking about how it is that things can be interpreted, how it is that we might be perceiving things, communications, agreements, negotiations. All these things are the providence, if you will, of air. It has to do with talking it out. It has to do with trying to relate to other people, or at least trying to get your message out, or to be clear on how you're thinking around certain topics, to be clear on what it is that you are saying. Now we are entering a new season of Mercury retrograde. Now this early Mercury retrograde, this first Mercury retrograde, Mercury will just dip his feet into the sign of Aquarius before retrograding back in Capricorn. Mercury's already been in Capricorn for a little while now. And as we are entering this week, recently met Pluto in the sky. And this week we'll speak with Uranus early in the week before speaking with Jupiter in supreme harmony as we move forward into the week. So what this essentially says is we are now moving into a new understanding of manifestation, right? This is about, as they say, the proof is in the pudding, right? They say, put your money where your mouth is. Well, what all that means essentially is, it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to think it, it's one thing to believe it. It's a whole other thing to manifest it. It's a whole other thing to actually be doing something so that you are moving in a direction that you like. There's a practicality to this energy. And this essentially is going to have us looking at the facts. What is possible? So there's a groundedness to this, but ultimately I think that this is so great because what this is asking us to do is be honest with ourselves, but also to honor the physical realm, right? To honor the earthly experience. So air is amazing, right? It's intellect. That is one of our sacred gifts as human beings. We have that ability to be rational, to be intellectual. Fire, right, is passion. We have that ability to feel energized, enthusiastic, and feel a sense of momentum. And to also feel a sense of happiness, being lit up by something that truly brings us joy. Water is emotion, sensitivity, intuition, beautiful part of being a human being. And then there is earth, and earth is just as sacred. Because earth is saying that, yes, we live in a physical realm and there are certain laws that govern the physical realm, and yet it is a beautiful experience. It can be an imperfect experience, and yet it has its perfection to it. So as we are going to move into this 2016 season of lots of Mercury retrograde in earth signs rather, this is going to ask us to get honest with ourselves about what we're actually doing and what is actually possible. Instead of just having things be ideas and statements, what is achievable? So I'll give you a little example. When this happened, I just sort of love when the universe is so on point, right? Like things happen to me in my life and then immediately after I'll be like, okay, because I'm an astrologer, it's like, what was happening in the astrology? What's happening right now in the sky? And so I had one of these really interesting moments recently because Capricorn is, when you think about it, Capricorn is the ruler, or rather the ruling planet of Capricorn is Saturn. Capricorn as a sign is the natural ruler, or finds home in the 10th house, the midheaven. That whole archetypal energy has to do with how we're known in a larger sense. It has to do with achievement. It has to do with legacy. It has to do also with like sort of that part of us that is immortal, if you will, right? So sometimes people associate this energy with the father because in general we tend to take our father's names, the last name of our father. And so that becomes a part of our legacy that we take forward with us. And so this particular part of the sky with Capricorn moving around, Mercury moving around in Capricorn, we're going to be considering, we will be thinking about it, and it will be this very energy, whether it's within us, right? Like our internal mom, internal dad. Well, what's our internal dad? Our internal dad kind of sets us on the straight and narrow path, right? Again, archetypally speaking, I'm not talking about the actual experiences you may have had in your own unique life with your unique parents, but as an archetype in a larger sense, in a psychological sense as well. The inner parent, the inner father is that voice of higher wisdom, of morality as well. We associate with that archetype. So I was actually talking to my dad. So I talk to my dad every day, of course. I talk to my mom every day. And so I was talking to my dad, and my dad essentially started talking to me about what is it that I achieved today that will be part of what I am achieving when I'm 65, right? Because that to me is so much a part of legacy, right? Like he was saying, it's all well and good, enjoy your life, be happy, do all these wonderful things, and yet ensure that you did something that will contribute to what you are doing and how it is ultimately that you would desire to be known in a larger way, the legacy that you desire to leave. He and I have very similar charts, to be honest with you. But I thought that that was so interesting. As I reflected on that afterwards, I thought, oh my God, this is so Mercury and Capricorn conjunct Pluto, right? This is that moment that says, look at what's really essential. Look at the part that truly is immortal. How do you define that, right? Everyone defines that differently. For some people, like my father, he's a good Leo, right? For him, his kids are his immortality. I'm an Aquarian, so for me, my ideas, my writing, what I share in terms of words, that's my immortality. And we all have our own way of understanding legacy. We all have our own way of understanding what it is that we desire to leave behind or leave here, to know that in some way the world was better because of what we did. However we define that, again, very, very personal. But all of us in our own way are pursuing that part of the human experience. And so I thought it was so amazing that he would have that conversation with me just as Mercury was moving into conjunction with Pluto. And now we have Mercury speaking with Uranus as we move into this week, with Mercury also entering shadow. Now, to me, as I look at this, especially as we're beginning the week, I do think, well, let me give you a heads up of what's coming a little bit down the road. After that, the sun moves into the sign of Capricorn as well. So happy birthday to all the Capricornians out there. And then we approach the actual holiday. And what is happening Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, is that Mercury will be speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter. Venus will be in harmony with Jupiter as well. And then we're going to have a full moon actually taking place on Christmas Day. So this is quite rare to happen. If you are in a part of the world, you may be in a part of the world where it's part of the culture to celebrate this season. And so to see a full moon at this time tends to be significant. It's a full moon in Cancer, very much about family, speaking in harmony with Neptune as well, very much about compassion. So all that energy to me says compassion, acceptance, generosity, right? Genuine love, conversations that heal, love that makes you feel like you truly are with family. That's the energy that's happening actually right at the holidays. So again, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, not early in the week. So if you are one of those people who, you know, when you know that you have to go home or you have to see certain people, you know, if you're one of those people like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to see these people again. I try to see these people as little as possible. There are a lot of people out there who are like that, right? You can't choose your family, and really, depending on how large your family is also, you really have even less choice. It's like the universe letting you know, you really have even less choice. And so sometimes, you know, some people, they can feel a little sensitive around holiday time, around having to see certain people. And this might be that very sort of anxiety or uncertainty that shows up in the early part of the week. So if you know that there are certain family members you're not so crazy about, maybe it's nothing obviously stated, but they just have a way of pushing your buttons, you might hear that they are going to be there, wherever it is that you are supposed to be. And that ultimately will lend itself to the sun moving into Capricorn says, you know, honor the family, honor the legacy. You got to do the right thing. Morality, right? And then we get to the holiday, and it is, I mean, there's just so much understanding and love. Now, I'm not promising you that everyone's going to be singing Kumbaya, but I can say that you will get a whole other perspective, a perspective truly based in love. You will feel a sense of generosity, and certainly there will be a spirit of being willing to love. And so ultimately, in light of your unique circumstances, what's happening in your unique birth chart, you will figure out the best action for you. Sometimes with this energy, right, it really might be for some people out there where they say, you know what, this is the first time I'm not going to do family this season. I'm going to be with another group, another crew that I feel is family to me. And that ends up being the very rewarding experience. So it's always in light of your unique circumstances, what's happening in your unique birth chart. But ultimately, any kind of anxiety, stress, moment of truth, moment that makes us look at where it is that in healthy ways we own who we are, where it is that we, you know, I think about this idea when I look at Mercury square Uranus, that sometimes we take on these messages about what it means to be true to ourselves, right? And that truth of who you are might not necessarily be understood by everyone. And it might be, there's a possibility that a few of you out there might feel like, well, if I go, I can't really be my truth. I can't live my truth. I can't really be myself, is one of the things I'm seeing in the early part of the week. But just know that whatever you decide, ultimately, again, self-care, that's the inner mom, right? You being able to nurture yourself, care for yourself, know what you really need emotionally. That's the archetype of the mom. That's the internal mother. So ultimately, you have to step in to be that parent to yourself, that carer for yourself, and you will decide on the best course of action regardless. Right around holiday time, lots of love and unity and generosity and hugs going around for just about everybody out there. So my hope is, my intention is that I am in some way sending you very big astro hugs this week. And my hope is that you absolutely enjoy it, and as much as possible, you are feeling the love, sharing the love, giving the love, wherever it is that you find yourself as you move through this week. Well, thank you so much for watching the introduction. I'm truly so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful that you're here as well. I love that you guys are loving this new stuff that I've put out into the world. Thank you. What I'm calling UWL merchandise, the universe is wise and loving. That merchandise, getting great feedback on that. Thank you so much. And so grateful that you guys are wanting to embrace that message even more, like wear it or have it on your mug, right? Or have it on cards. Like, that's amazing to me. Thank you so much for resonating with what it is that I share, because ultimately the universe is wise and loving. That's really what I believe is my mission in the world, to affirm that. And so you just being here in this moment really allows me to do that, and for that I am eternally grateful. Also, the Astrofabulous jewelry line, my very first jewelry line. This is a big dream come true for me. Also getting great feedback on that. You guys are really loving it. As soon as it was introduced, sales started coming in. So that let me know that there was love for this product. I appreciate that so much. With that particular necklace, right, it is Astrofabulous. It's like a star with perfect symmetry, right? It should be on your screen right about now. So there was a lot of care that took place into making it beautiful, symmetrical, and something that reminds you of the star that you are. So these are specific to zodiac sign. There are two different like types that you can get depending on how much you want to spend. There is the lower priced stainless steel version. So that comes in stainless steel like silver, and matte black, which is really beautiful as well, and in gold plated stainless steel. And then we have the sterling silver, and we have gold plated brass and rose gold plated brass as well. So depending on what you're into, depending on what it is that you want to be rocking right about now. And it is my partnerships with Zazzle and Zazzy that have made this happen. So I want to send a big thank you to them. Zazzle right now is having a big sale, 10% off everything. And so if you wanted to be like sort of owning it, rocking it, or having a mug that says it, then you check out that website or come to my website, nadiyashah.com. That'll connect you right to them. And also, of course, with Zazzy, they do have priority delivery. They have overnight delivery. You have to contact them directly for that. But they have generally like a flat shipping rate. It's like $2 and something. I think it's $2.80 or something like that. International flat rate shipping. So depending on how soon you want it, then that's really up to you. Make sure you connect with them if you're trying to get it this week. That is, if it's the beginning of the week and you're trying to get it by the middle of the week, email them directly. And both of them have amazing customer service. They take care of you guys, and that's really why I partner with them, because they make sure that the deliveries go out. They make sure that you're happy with what you get. They resolve any issues. If there are any issues, they would resolve them with you, make sure that you receive a product that you absolutely love and adore, and you receive it safely as well. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, thumbs up. I'm so grateful for it. I love your interactions. You guys have amazing questions. Facebook, Twitter, Google+. My website, nadiyashah.com, and of course, the YouTube comments as well. Sometimes you guys ask me questions that are a little bit more personal. In that case, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. Look at your unique birth chart. Right now, as we're starting this week, it is the 2-week and the 2-day options that are available. Several new deluxe packages are available as well for success in business, wedding, and marriage, right? Those are two different things. So having a successful marriage and picking a great wedding day is part of that package. And of course, there's a deluxe package that comes with a special gift, uniquely just for you. And as you guys just have been reaching out to me, been getting great responses. A lot of people are really loving the new focuses, particularly the life purpose focus. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that when you ask about the life purpose focus, because a lot of orders have been coming in for that. Again, thank you for your trust. There's a very specific methodology that I go through when I do the life purpose reading. So yes, we look at what's coming up ahead. Yes, we look at transits. It is a video that's longer than what is generally stated because I'm going through these different symbols. And I really go through what's called the big 6, if you will, as part of understanding your life purpose that much more deeply. So it is looking at the sun, the moon, Jupiter in your chart, also the part of fortune, the nodes, and the midheaven. Those are what I call the big 6 as part of understanding the direction in which you are meant to go in this lifetime, or at least how to begin to consciously or more consciously align yourself with that higher vision for your life. Again, I'm so grateful for your trust, and really you being here is everything. It really is. And I'm truly so grateful to be some small part of your sacred journey. Thank you. And again, I'm wishing all of you out there so much love this holiday season. I hope that you enjoy it and that you feel the love as well. So how all this wonderful stuff taking place this week speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week, we've got lots of big picture thinking on your part, right? So lots of thinking about where you're headed, what you're doing in a larger sense, and what it is that you desire to achieve in a bigger sense as well. There's going to be a special focus on life purpose and matters of life purpose that much more. If there's any sign that really is going to have to go home, it is you. So you will have to be home. But that is the place to be, where there's going to be so much love and so much support. It looks like of all the people who's very likely to have the type of a holiday that feels really warm and fuzzy. All of us are. But for you, really, it is about home base, connecting with family of origin. I think you're going to find yourself just feeling a real need to have that kind of structure with you, to carry on with certain traditions as well, much to the surprise of some of the people around you, and maybe even you as well. In fact, I do think in the early part of the week, there might even be resistance to certain traditions that before you might have like sort of said, no, I'm not into that. That's not what I'm about. No, I'm going over here. This year, you're going to find yourself going through a little bit of a change of heart, a change of mind, and being more willing to participate in what is otherwise more traditional. And I think that you will absolutely love it. There's a certain thing about this sky for you this week that has to do with being nourished, I guess is the best way I can put it. It has to do with knowing that you are really getting what you need, emotionally, physically as well, of course, but knowing that the care that you desire from yourself, from others, is genuinely there. Where it comes to love this week, we've got Venus in a super sultry part of your sky, speaking with Jupiter, and this says that you are going to be wanting to incorporate more of that energy into your daily life. And so when I look at this, this suggests to me that a real sense of connection, very possible, especially right at the holidays, especially as we move into the middle of the week. And also a real genuine sense, an open sense, if you will, that love can get better. Wherever it is that you are, there are steps that you can take to always make it better. But there are benefits to that as well. Like I said, there's hearts wide open. There's a real desire right now. If you're in a committed relationship, you'll be feeling the desire to make that something even stronger, to keep that connection something that's growing that much more. And if you're open to meeting someone new, it very likely is going to be the connections that awaken you on a level of imagination, yes, but actually speak something profound to you, right? Like, you know, when you meet somebody and the energy just reaches right into you, that is the type of experience that is very possible for you this week. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have got Venus, your ruling planet, speaking with Jupiter. This says to me overall there's going to be a nice feeling, or at the very least overall you're going to know what it is you need to do if you want to have a really nice feeling. Now, do keep in mind lots of earth energy taking place this week, right? With Mercury, with the sun, and Jupiter as well. So what this suggests is that a lot of the energy happening this week is very relatable, is easy for you to grasp and easy for you to work with. A lot of this says to me, as I look at the sky, on the one hand, there's love, right? Lots of love with this sky. And so if you are, especially if you're just getting to know someone or you're open to meeting someone new, it is this week that could provide some really promising opportunities to do just that. You might have to overcome a little bit of inertia, right? You might have to say to yourself, okay, I'll go. Well, okay, I'll go to that party. I'll meet you there, in order to actually make yourself available to these connections. But I think the chance of you having a connection that it really is on a heart level, very strongly possible now. Those of you who are in an established bond, I think that you'll just be feeling a lot of love, a lot of generosity. There'll be lots of gift giving going all around for both of you. Also, with this particular week, what I also really like is that there is a sense of appreciation, especially as we're starting the week, because it's almost like I'm seeing a reminder for you, whether it's something you see in the news or something you hear from someone else, that in many ways life can be so fragile. Life is something that we can cherish, we can try our best to use every moment, share the connections that we have, the love we have, nurture the relationships, and at the end of the day, still there's a fragility there that makes this experience of being human that much more meaningful. But it's about understanding that balance where you're not giving in so much to the fear, but also having a lot of gratitude and nurturing what is good. And I do think at the start of the week, there might be a little bit of news that reminds you of this. Again, it might be in the media, it might be a story that you hear from someone else. And ultimately, that is actually going to be part of what allows you to feel a sense of expansion on a heart level that motivates you that much more to connect with the people that matter to you this week, and for resolving anything that needs to be resolved, and just enjoying the moment for everything that it holds for you. Hello, fabulous Gemini. Well, so much of the center of the party is you. And that is because Mercury is so active this week, doing all kinds of interesting things, especially in the beginning of the week, right? It's the real interesting stuff taking place then for you, part of a continuing trend from last week. But it is, as you move into the middle and later part of the week, that your energy starts to shift very much for the better. It's almost as if there were like some clear opportunities, okay, let's say, that you hadn't recognized or right there in front of your face now start to appear. So even if at some point late last week, or even as you're starting this week, there's a little smidge of you that might be feeling a little bit frustrated, don't worry about it. It really is not anything to give into. And that is because this wonderful benefit, this wonderful feeling that things can come together really nicely and things can come together very much to your advantage is set to take place for you. What I really like about this energy for you is that there is a feeling of prosperity, a real sense that the best is yet to come. That is where your focus will ensure that you can more quickly recognize the opportunities. So if you were one of those few Geminis who at the beginning of the week or late last week was feeling like you were fighting for something or trying to go for something, or you just weren't feeling in alignment, like period, you just weren't feeling it, you weren't feeling alignment, this is where the energy starts to open up and starts to change. You start feeling the love, and with love comes options, all kinds of options, and some very tangible options at that, including options to create greater prosperity for yourself, greater wealth for yourself, heal any, energetic stuff that might be there around prosperity so that you can allow that in, but also in a practical sense as well. As I spoke of in the introduction, that's going to be a big lesson for us starting now, but especially throughout 2016. That yes, of course, do your work, align your thoughts, clear your energy, be available, be open, but at the same time, honor the physical realm, make things happen here, now, manifest, right? That is ultimately part of the larger spiritual lesson that we'll be going through, and you are right at the heart of it. In matters of love as well, you've got so much support there for you, and particularly when I look at what is taking place in the workplace, okay? So last week, when I saw the energy taking place last week, I was saying in the introduction, I think I said to people like, okay, don't overdo it at a holiday party at work related, right? I said, hold back when it comes to work and being overindulgent. But this week is a different week. It's a whole other time. So if you find yourself, especially in a work-related situation, and especially if in that work-related situation there are people with whom you've had a strong connection with, strong connection going way back with as well, then that type of environment can set the stage for a genuine romantic moment to take place. Now that doesn't mean it has to be with someone inappropriate. It does not. It doesn't mean it has to be with a coworker. It does not, but it could be. And so, always I like to say, be mindful, of all the things that might be ahead so you can make more conscious choices. And yet it just looks like you are exactly that. You are exactly aware of where you are and exactly what is taking place in terms of the larger consequences that might be, and you make decisions that ultimately do lead you towards feeling more love. So we have that happening. If you're in an established bond, of course, it becomes a little bit different. There's still love, absolutely. And actually, there's a lot of love at home. That is where a lot of the focus is going to be. If you're in an established bond, it looks like you are ready to get good and comfortable and closer to the person that you care about. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week it really is all about the full moon. There's a full moon in your sign. You add to that all this energy building in your opposite sign. And what that says to me, as I look at that, all that says to me is that changes are taking place for you. There are inspiring prospects on the horizon. And there's a part of you that is starting to see, that is starting to sense how all these different moments and perhaps some challenges as well have led you to right now where you can feel yourself becoming more in alignment with the goals, the dreams, the aspirations, the love in every form that you are moving towards more and more, that you want more and more. This week does speak to a building of emotion. Now, sometimes for that emotion to really rise, we have to go through, a tiny little bit of a roller coaster. It might be taking place for a small percentage of you, especially early in the week. So we've got this buildup of planets that's starting to take place in your opposite sign. And that means that people, that means friendships are going to be very much in focus and are going to be important for you. So given that we have got all these different factors at play and all these different factors coming together, it does suggest very strongly that on the one hand, you are recognizing love in many forms. On the other hand, you are considering who's with you, who's not, who's a good partner, who's not. But also, there is truly love opening up for you. It is other people seeing you with eyes of love and sharing that with you that is getting you to appreciate, to understand, to be more open to a kinder vision of yourself, a kinder vision of your future. There really is a whole new understanding and a wellspring of emotion set to take place for you. If ever there was a time for you to be listening to yourself, to be trusting yourself, to be connecting with other people, having conversations, especially of all kinds, family, friends, neighbors, potential romantic partners, or an established spouse, this would definitely be it. And in the context of love, you've got such strong blessed energy. We have Venus in a very supportive position. And even if early in the week, there's some questions, there's some doubts, there's some unknowing, by the time we move towards the later part of the week, all is well and you are feeling very loved. Now, I do want you to keep in mind, you and the Virgos out there need to know that you are about to have Mercury retrograde. So Mercury's now in shadow. Mercury will retrograde in a part of the sky that is decidedly romantic. Okay, so for you, it's very much about partnerships. For the Virgos, and I'll talk about it when I get there, but for them it's a little different. It's more about dating and romance, but it tends to be right around now, right? If you, and especially once Mercury goes retrograde, if you break up with someone, like if you're dating somebody, or rather for you, if you're in a committed bond, like you feel like you are with this person and you break up, chances are it won't last, okay? Because chances are there might be some confusion, and ultimately it lends itself to minds being changed, conversations being had. And if there ever was a week that could demonstrate that to you, this would be it. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got a lot of energy taking place for you in the part of the sky that has to do with the workplace. So you know how last week I advised everybody out there, I was saying, okay, look, if you're invited to a work holiday party, do not go near the alcohol. Leave the wine alone. It would not be a smart bet. This week is a little different. This week the energy is a little different. And for you in particular, I do think that if you are invited to any work-related events, maybe at the very beginning of the week you want to hold back, because it does look like for a small percentage of you late last week and early this week, might be a little bit of drama happening in the workplace. If you work for yourself, maybe there's also some like quick changes, quick decisions having to be made, especially in reference to your clients. So all of that is part of what is taking place for you. Now, even with that energy, and again, it's only a small percentage of you, others of you might be finding yourself asking questions about doing more rewarding work. It might be just a much more personal journey. But even with all of that, as we move forward, like once we get you past the very early part of the week and we move you forward, it is work that becomes a very loving space. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised, just on a really practical level, for some of you out there to experience financial gains. So this could be a time of getting a raise. This could be time of getting a really good bonus that you hadn't anticipated as well. And this can be a time where you're feeling a sense of camaraderie and a sense of support with the people with whom you work and are connected to. Where it comes to love this week, I do think home base is really where a lot of the activity is happening. So here's my advice. If you are connected to someone, you're in an established bond, you're gonna want lots of alone time. That's what I see happening, like alone time, being with this person, having those private moments, or you might be with your partner, like shopping for home-related things. So it might be like, yeah, let's redecorate, let's make this room more comfortable. You know, these types of beautiful aesthetics touches taking place that seem to appeal to both of you, actually. If you are open to meeting someone new, you know, I would say incorporate that element of home. One is, you might actually make a romantic connection. If you have to go home for the holidays, you might end up making a romantic connection. Right now, I'm not in Toronto. My family's there. I love them so much. I'm not a Leo, but I know that our tradition, holiday time, because it was a holiday for everyone, is we would go see Bollywood movies. We would go to the Indian movie theater and see Bollywood movies. So if you are in that kind of situation, hang out with your family, wherever it is they want to go. Movie theater, Chinese food, or home for the holidays. It really is there that someone might bring someone, or someone might say, hey, I know somebody who I really think would be a good match with you. I want to introduce you to somebody. That's when you want to be receptive, because it really is going to be in the company of family that you make a connection with someone else, a connection that has a whole lot of promise. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week, we have got a particularly active sky, and it looks like the sky is reaching right to the heart of you. In fact, we have Jupiter in your sign. Now, Jupiter now is starting to slow, okay? And Jupiter will, in January, begin to go retrograde. So right now, what astrologers call it is stationary, is approaching stationary retrograde. So that means as Jupiter's slowing down his energy is magnifying, it's getting that much more potent. And so is the love and the possibility and the hope and the potentials that are available to you. So as you are considering building, moving towards and moving in a positive direction, it's almost as if that positive direction just shows up for you. And it's very likely that love and connections are going to arrive to you. It is these other faster moving planets that are reaching out in supreme harmony to your Jupiter, to Jupiter in your sign, and particularly Mercury being your ruling planet. It does look like there might be, Mercury's doing some interesting things late last week and the very early part of this week. To me, I look at this and this says to me, just don't stress over money. That's what it looks like. You might be stressing over money. Don't do that. Don't give it any energy. And, recently I had a conversation with my mom. My mom is a Virgo. I'm sure she's watching now. I love you. Hi, Mom. And, she was talking about this idea of faith, right? And just knowing that. And she actually sent me this little prayer, and it said basically that everything that you need, the resources are provided to you. And I found that a really profound statement. I thought, oh, wow. So whatever it is that you think you need, it isn't that it's just provided to you, but actually it said the resources to have everything you need is provided to you. And I thought that was so interesting. When I looked at this sky, I want to say in the early part of the week, if there is a little smidge of concern, of doubt, of wondering, release that. Know that everything you need is going to be provided for. There might be a very small percentage of you, I'm going to be honest, right? A small percentage of you, it might not even be anything that's like your fault, but there might be a little glitch or something that happens if you're trying to use a credit card. Just be mindful of that. So where you can, your cards might act a little funny in the very early part of the week. So if that's the case too, just trust, okay, if these people are meant to have this gift, if you're buying for someone else or if you're buying for yourself, if you are meant to have that, it will flow, okay? And it really is just a minor little glitch. And I have a feeling that if you are one of those Virgos that takes place with, chances are you'll get home. First, you'll be a little like, oh my God, frustrated. And then very quickly, you'll realize that, oh, that really wasn't a good decision. That wasn't a good buying decision. I really didn't like that. Or you'll see something else that you like a lot more also. Very, very possible to you. I had an experience once, I'm not a Virgo, but I remember many years ago I had this experience and I never forgot it. I walked into a store, it was Christmas Eve and Toronto, right? So I knew the next day everything would be closed, everything was closing early. I really needed a winter coat. The weather was gonna start to get cold really quickly. So I went into a store, I saw a coat, I kind of thought it was okay. I was like, oh, I don't know, but I need a coat. So I bought it. And then immediately literally within 5 minutes, I went to a store like almost next door and saw what I really wanted. And I was like, oh, wow, this is what I really want. So I bought that. I went back to the original store and I said, oh, I was just here 5 minutes ago. You remember, I don't want this anymore. And they were like, we can't give you a refund. No gift card, nothing. I was like, okay. So I took my, credit slip or whatever the case may be. And I went back like 2 days later and I was, all ready to say, hey, what was up with that? And talk to the manager. And, I said to the manager, hey, I was here the other day and I have this credit slip and, I really want gift cards and stuff. She's like, oh, no problem. Oh, that's fine. And so my idea had been to give those gift cards as gifts to people. But then in retrospect, I realized that those people probably wouldn't have wanted to shop at that store anyways. It wasn't really their style. So that's what I mean. You've got to trust. Sometimes you just got to trust. And it is very soon after that you kind of realize, oh, okay, I get it. I get why it was that things had to happen that way. But that is a small possibility, and that is early in the week. We get you to the later part of the week, and as I said, love is showing up for you. The real possibility of prosperity is showing up for you as well. If there ever was a time to buy a lottery ticket, I'm going to put this out there. If there ever was a time to buy a lottery ticket, it is the 24th and the 25th. So if you can find a place open on the 25th, that'll sell you a lottery ticket, right? Don't bet the farm, but you've got a lot of luck on your side. And as I said, if you have kids, they literally are showing up. It could be in the beginning of the week, it looks like that might not happen, and then they show up. This is also a time when you are very fertile. So if that's something you want, if you've wanted to have children, that could just show up for you as well, okay? So be mindful of that. And that's not what you want, then this could be a really great creative idea happening. And this could also be just love and romance and feeling connected. If you're in an established bond, feeling the love. It just seems like your heart is full of a sense that you have found the one. There's a lot of emotion and a lot of love there. And if you're open to meeting someone new, you really are at your absolute flirty best over the holidays. So make sure you utilize that. Put yourself in situations where you may meet new people, and the chance of having a really interesting out of nowhere conversation that just really awakens you in one way and really gets you thinking, oh wow, yeah, there might be something here, is very strongly possible for you. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have got your ruling planet Venus speaking in sweet, sweet connection to Jupiter. And I think that this is energy you feel growing over the course of the week. So even though otherwise there's lots of activity taking place, especially on the home front, it looks like at home is really calling your attention. Sometimes easily, sometimes not so much. It might be that some stuff is happening at home that actually doesn't really have anything to do with you. And so it's gonna be about you saying, okay, whoa, this doesn't have anything to do with me. So it's like a healthy, a very healthy sense of, okay, I understand, I love you, I support you, but I'm not gonna take this stuff on. No need to take on stuff that's not yours. And when you take that approach, for the small percentage of you that might have an experience like that, when you take that approach, you find that you are so much better able to love everyone around you, love yourself, and love others as well. When I look at this particular, like the days right around the holidays as we move towards the later part of the week, you are feeling very generous. You might not know where this is coming from, but there's a part of you that is just feeling like you want to express love, or maybe there's just a part of you, it just looks like you want to spend money, right? It happens. You go somewhere, you're like, I just feel like buying something. Well, why not? So there might be that part of you. It looks like you have the budget. It looks like you've got some great financial ideas as well. And so you're trusting that the future prosperity and your prosperity will continue to grow. It certainly will. But just keep that in mind. It looks like there's going to be like last minute shopping taking place for you, but something about it sort of excites you and even gives you more energy. It seems to make you extremely happy to be running around at the very last minute. If you are working, okay, if you're one of those people who ends up having to work, then it looks also like it can be a very fun moment. It can be a very fun environment. So even then, there's a lot of retail happiness, whether you're working in retail or you are actually shopping. Overall, that whole retail environment looks to be a very positive one, an encouraging one, and one that seems to be awakening you and inspiring you as well to be that much more beautiful, or at least to bring beauty into other people's life. And it could be in these very atmospheres as well that love happens. It's almost as if when you are spending money or making money, that is when love is also happening or transpiring. So be open to the conversations that you end up having with the people around you. And, especially if, people just randomly like to ask each other questions about, I don't know, this is my experience. People like to randomly ask me what I think of certain outfits or whatever. It happens to me all the time. So if that should be the case, that's awesome, right? That's a good way to start a conversation as well. It's not that you have to actively push or do anything, but rather to just relax and be in the moment and enjoy yourself, and then see what happens, see if a connection is made, see if a great idea comes about for you as well. And in the context of love, like I said, making money, spending money, it's all bringing love to you. It's all bringing good things for you, pleasure to you as well. And nice things. It looks like you're ready to spoil yourself just a little bit. If you are in an established bond, what I really love about this particular sky for you in an established bond is that there is the real potential now to have the kind of heart to heart that just creates and builds on almost an unspoken connection. So there's on the one hand sort of a quiet element to this, and yet it looks like through talking, through conversation, if you're not saying it, that's when it looks like energy is building. So not in a good way. So say it, talk about it, especially as we move towards the middle of the week, because it looks like you really are going to find yourself profoundly, like the energy just shifts. And I think that some of you might even find yourself in tears, feeling how much love you actually have for this person. In fact, if there ever was a time when music could bring forward the tears, this would be it. And it's very connected to heart, it's very connected to emotion, and it's very connected to the love that you already have. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. Well, this week, Venus continues in your sign, speaking in harmony with Jupiter this week. This is really when things get big and beautiful and awesome. So this looks like you are living it up. And this looks like a really good time if you are into or wanting. You know, I've been saying to you guys, if you want a makeover, if there's anything like that you're into, this would be a really good week to make that happen. Particularly if you are like with friends and you're getting their opinions, it looks like some really nice changes can come together for you that you like very much. Particularly over the holidays, it looks like you are looking just beautiful. You have this charm and a certain attraction to you, and all kinds of people are going to be speaking to you. And this is especially helpful if you are open to meeting someone new. So if you're open to meeting someone new, I would say this: spend time with friends. Because it is either going to be a friend that you start looking at a little differently, or it is going to be a friend who introduces you to someone, and that connection seems to have a lot of promise. Also, this week, it does look like talking is key. Talking is so key where it comes to siblings, cousins, neighbors. It looks like some very warmth, a lot of warmth is being exchanged, a lot of care is being exchanged as well. So if you are in one of those areas where you do have a lot of neighbors around you, or if you're one of those areas that you know there are all kinds of people, different lives and income brackets and so on, this could be a time to just be a little bit more willing to engage. Because sometimes in some areas, I know in parts of the world, like I lived in downtown Toronto for many, many years, and you know, at the holidays, really you'd see like these groups of people kind of hanging out at McDonald's or Tim Hortons at the coffee shop. And that was the family for them, right? Because they sort of had these very independent lives, all of us living in condos and high rises. So if you are in an environment like that, then just being receptive to that, being open to that, seeing how people are creating their families, and just being willing to be present, or to sit for a couple of minutes, or to give a hug where it feels right, right? Don't walk up, maybe not to a complete stranger where it doesn't feel right, but if it feels right, your heart is open, a hug can really go a long way and be one of those things that really can make a big, big difference in a person's life. Having said that, if you are in an established bond, it looks like things are going to be very social. So it looks like you're busy, you're out and about. Chances are you'll be spending time with friends in particular together. And again, there's lots of talking happening as well. So it looks like lots of ideas are being exchanged, lots of awakening seeming to happen as well. Like, oh wow, I didn't know you really thought like that. I didn't know that that was how it was for you. So you're about to learn something new about the people who are closest to you. But all in all, it looks like, I mean, just having Venus in your sign makes all of life that much easier. So all the stuff that otherwise might not be so easy really is just, I mean, it's just a small part of the very early part of the week. I don't even think you're going to notice it so much because you'll just be feeling so good. And the people around you will be carrying an energy that makes you feel that much better. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week, your ruling planet is getting lots of love from Mercury, lots of love from Venus. So I look at this and it says to me that, yeah, okay, lots of other stuff is happening, little ups and downs and stuff for all of us, right? That's life. And it all leads us towards greater love. Yet at the same time, I think for you, there's so much love, there's so much faith, there's just so much belief right about now that things can be good, things can be great. So what it does look like as I look at the sky for you is that there might be some questions around, how do I put this? So, okay, Jupiter is the very top of your sky right about now, very key position. This is a time where you're coming to understand your direction, you're coming to understand what you want to achieve, you're coming to understand where it is ultimately that you desire to go, right? So I spoke in the introduction about this idea of legacy and of achievement and how what you're doing now contributes to what you will do years from now, decades from now. So I spoke about that in the introduction, but it does look like while you're having faith and there are changes and opportunities taking place for you, a lot of it like sort of gets triggered by a matter that is connected to, it's like there's this connection between the money you're making and where it is ultimately that you understand that you're going, what it is ultimately that you believe is going to be fulfilling for you as well. And so here's my like sort of proposition, okay? Here's my invitation for you to consider. Because a small percentage of you out there might feel like if I did what I really wanted to do, I don't know if I could make money at it, I'd probably have to put a lot of money into it. When it is something that you're meant to do, it has a way of coming together and it has a way of flowing. But you have to keep, and especially you as a Sag know this, it is that eye on the big picture. It is that optimistic perspective that ultimately opens up awareness and therefore opens up possibilities and opportunities for you. So that is where you want to be paying attention, okay? Because if you get into the nitty-gritty too much, start to doubt yourself like, oh, okay, what do I really want to do? I don't know, but I want this, I want that. It can just like sort of send you into a little bit of a conundrum. And especially when you put yourself in a place where you think that what you want or what's going to make you happy is somehow, or what it is that ultimately is going to feel fulfilling is somehow more difficult to achieve or is going to require a lot of money and all that. When you start thinking like that, then it's like, especially again, for a Sag, the vision gets small, right? If you were a different sign, I would give you a different way of looking at this. But for you in particular, stay focused on your ruling planet. Stay focused on Jupiter because that is the power planet this week. That is your ruling planet. And that planet is at the very top of your sky getting so much love, and love from places you least expect it. And there is certainly financial gain to be had as well as we move later into the week. But it's almost as if you need to calm some of your fears as we're starting the week. So it might just be, you know, something like internal or just a little bit of residue from stuff, beliefs that aren't even yours, right? Like stuff that you're carrying that have to do with other people's fears. So you can love them and you can say, okay, thank you very much. Thank you for trying to, you know, treat me well. Thank you for helping me to move forward. But now I got to go for the dream. Sag has always got to go for the dream in some way. What you're doing right now has to connect to a larger vision or it becomes very difficult to do. And this is what the sky is trying to show you now. And so the way that you address this is that you go for that vision. You strive to get clarity of that vision if you're still not sure. And you allow yourself to be open on a level of heart, on a level of spirit, for the universe to make it that much clearer to you what that vision could be and how you could get there. It really is going to be you in many ways that is having a major shift, a major change, and a major understanding into what it is you truly desire to do. And I think as you do that, not only are the resources going to show up, I mean, in big ways, I think big money could show up for you right about now, or at least the promise of it could show up for you, but also an easy appreciation that you truly do have all the skills, everything that you need, and also that you have the ability to live a life that feels fulfilling and create prosperity as well in the process. Where it comes to matters of love, right now, Venus, goddess of love, is in a very quiet part of the sky. But the ruling planet of your opposite sign, very active, right? Super active in the sky. And so what this suggests to me is that the softer side of love, that allowing yourself to receive, that part of you seems to be a little bit like quieted, right? It seems that either love is happening kind of behind the scenes, and it might just be innocent, it might just be flirtation, or it really is that you are separating, like the other fire signs out there, you're kind of compartmentalizing your love life and putting it in a certain area, knowing that it's there, and focusing on other parts of your life. And yet the ruling planet of your opposite sign is very active, very busy, doing all kinds of things right about now, and ultimately really great things. So if in the early part of the week, if you're in an established bond, okay, so this is only if you're in an established bond. If you're open to meeting somebody new, I think it is going to be that if you decide to go out or to have fun or to do something where you're going to connect with someone, it is going to have that part of it that is separate from the rest of your life. And yet, if you are in an established bond, early in the week, there might be it's almost like I see your spouse going, I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think? Things are changing. Oh my God. And then, you calm them down, you breathe, and then very quickly, like within days, some really good news comes through. And I think your partner is about to experience a breakthrough, a huge sigh of relief. The fact that we have so much positive happening as we move towards the later part of the week says that it is going to feel downright inspiring. And I mean, if anyone is going to really feel like a miracle has taken place, a tremendous fortunate ending has happened, it is very likely to be you. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. There's a party and it's happening in your sign. The party starts to build in your sign. At first, the party might feel a little bit wild, a little bit out of control. Part of you wants to just, go within, be with yourself, but it's like the world is pulling you out of your shell and you're not really sure what you feel about it. But very, very quickly you find your groove and you are going to start to love it. A lot of this is thanks to Mercury. Mercury's moving into your sign, or rather, Mercury's been in your sign already, but Mercury is moving into shadow. So now Mercury begins to walk a path that will be returned to and then walked again. So this is like the first of 3, times down the same block. And so you really do want to be watching what is taking place in your life this week, especially as you're starting the week, sort of late last week and into the beginning of this week, because the themes that show up now will be returned to in the late part of January. So it's like you're not going to be done with it. If some news or some opportunity or some possibility shows up for you, there's going to be a few details to iron out. There's going to be more to come. And that burst of clarity that you need to understand what it was that was arising for you, particularly right now, is going to come a little bit over a month from now, okay? So again, in the late part of January, and as we head into February, that's when the clarity will come. So take any information you receive with a grain of salt, okay? And just kind of pace yourself. All should be well. Having said that, I also think that if anyone is really going to be feeling like bright and curious and alive and the love and reaching out, it really is you. You, with Mercury in your sign, are going to be connecting with Jupiter. And Jupiter is in a very harmonious placement for you right now. That's all about vision. It's all about knowing more than you did before, whether through experience or knowledge, experiments, whatever the case may be. So this has to do with higher education. It has to do with travel, legal matters. So all of this stuff, citizenship matters, all of this stuff is getting a lot of positive energy, and it looks like you very well might meet the right person at the right time, or you just might get the right news at the right time. And I literally think that there are going to be some of you out there that receive a letter, like Mercury is traditionally letters, right? Communications that come through, especially in writing, it's letters. Remember like pigeons, right? They used to have pigeons. They used to sort of say a prayer to Mercury before they'd give that note to the pigeon and send it along its way to deliver that message. Now we don't need to do that. We can text each other. So for you, it looks very likely that some letter is going to arrive, some message is going to arrive that just delights you, that it's like all of a sudden your world gets a whole lot bigger. All of a sudden, so much makes sense. All of a sudden, a lot of things come together, and really a sense of culmination or feeling like someone really came through for you. Because this is also happening during a full moon. So if you are like waiting on a final answer, this could be the time when it comes through and you are very happy about it. If you are open to an adventure, right? Open to seeing what could be possible for you. This could be the time when it shows up, like out of nowhere, an opportunity or a possibility presents itself to you. What I love also about this week, where it comes to matters of love, we have got that full moon in your opposite sign. It is really in so many ways about love, about partnership for you. So this full moon is also going to speak strongly to love for the Cancerians, but for them it's a very personal process. It's all about them. To Pisceans as well, but for them it's about dating and joy and connecting and flirting. But for you, it is about commitment and alignment with another person, joining, like really joining and bringing together both of who you are to be better together. So if you are in an established bond, this full moon will speak to you very strongly. You'll be feeling very loved. Your heart will be very much on your sleeve, and you will be enjoying this person. If it's a business partnership as well, you will feel in some way like this person is making a miracle happen for you. So that's really beautiful also. If you are open to meeting somebody new, having a full moon in your opposite sign pretty much guarantees that person's going to show up. So someone's going to show up rather. And I spoke about this at length in the December monthly love horoscope. So you may want to have a look at that. But when I look at the fact that we have got this full moon happening in your opposite sign, it does suggest to me that there is the real possibility and the real potential now for you to see something very valuable within yourself and to see something very lovable within yourself as well. Even though the energy isn't necessarily like very stable or long-term just yet, okay? You got to give it a little bit more time, get into the new year in order for that type of energy to kick in a little bit. Even though this is a very idealistic and hopeful full moon, still, it is meant to show you something about the love that is available to you and the love that you deserve. And that is such a nice way to be reminded that you do indeed deserve love, that there is love, and that you are able to see things within you that you can nurture, that you can strengthen, or in some cases, that you can put to the past to ready yourself for a bigger, greater, grander love. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we have got an active sky, really, really positive once we get into the week. But as we start the week, we do have Mercury speaking with Uranus. Now, recently, friend and fan out there as anonymous, right? They wrote to me as with their name anonymous, said they were an Aquarian and asked about this. They said, you know, how is it that Mercury is communication, but then Uranus is considered the higher octave of Mercury? How does that work for me as an Aquarius? Well, if you need a demonstration, this weekend will show it to you. Essentially, the outer planets are more like a collective energy, and Aquarius is very connected to the collective, is a part of the collective. But at the same time, a very individualistic sign, which is why also Uranus is associated with like individual rights. Now, where it comes to communication, Uranus can be really brilliant, right? It's about the future. It's about communicating the future, which is amazing. But the physical act, right? Actually saying, like, you can have all these thoughts, you can have all these ideas, but then to actually put them together in a way that is going to connect with other people, that is more a Mercury thing. What's really interesting to me, I've noticed, is I'm also a fellow Aquarian. I don't like talking about myself too much, but I'm asked that so often, so I will say that. And so what I have found is sometimes, and especially in certain conversations, I can be talking to somebody and I'm like already thinking like 2 steps ahead or 3 steps ahead. And a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody, they like, before I even have a chance to ask the question, they've already answered it just in talking. But I have found that sometimes I'll be talking to somebody and then I'll throw in a question that looks like I'm going in a different direction. And I can always tell like how much air does this person have in their chart based on how well they're following along and how well are they like sort of participating in that exchange. So as I look at this sky, if you need to understand the difference, like if you're like, okay, I really want to harness my Uranian energy to share what I have to, that's great, right? That's about the future. Be visionary and let your imagination soar. Brainstorm. These are great ways to harness that Uranian energy to figure out how it is ultimately that you are going to understand and put together what otherwise might be very complex for people. But with Mercury, it finds a more relatable, more immediate way of being communicated. So even the stuff that's really complicated can be understood by a whole lot of people. That disconnect, or where it is that that process needs to be refined for you, is going to show up at the early part of the week. So this will be a big lesson for all Aquarians out there. You've got big ideas, you've got big plans, and I see you like you have so much to say, and there's so much that you want to say and express, and yet you're finding yourself limited in some way. So whether it's coming up with the right words at the right moment, it might even be a language thing. I mean, my Spanish still, after coming to Mexico so many times over the past few years, still sometimes I feel that limitation. And I've heard a lot of people share, you know, who live in other countries and things, about that learning curve and learning process, because Mercury is also languages as well. In a sense, we could say Jupiter, right? Jupiter is like foreign land, so it could be foreign languages, but Mercury is the act of communicating. So it becomes a very strong indicator of being able to take on different languages and how quickly you might learn them and so on. So whether it is like a practical thing like that, or whether it just is that the ideas are coming faster than you can actually explain them or communicate them, whether it is you're trying to get someone to see your vision and they're not getting it, you're trying to figure out how you can say this so that it connects with them, all of that becomes possible. It becomes this like demonstration, this exercise in how to work with your Uranus and your Mercury in moments when it seems like they're not working together, how to bring them together so they both work to your advantage. So that's happening early in the week. But then we move forward and we have all this positive energy from Mercury, positive energy from Venus being sent to Jupiter. Jupiter right now is in a financial part of your sky. This is good for grants, loans, bursaries, insurance payments, tax returns, and benefits, right? Other people's money, inheritances, settlements, things like that. And so it does look like, I mean, either you might get a new credit card. I mean, that could happen, very possible. And that's a bit of a mixed blessing, I've found. But it might be that, right? All of a sudden you have access to more money. You do got to pay it back though. That could be one possibility, but it might also be a gift, a very generous gift that shows up for you. If you are, if you have anything involving passive income, Jupiter in this part of the sky, this part of the sky in particular has to do with passive income. So what that means is you do the work once and it's done. And that should make you money for a long time to come. So for example, if you write a book, right? You write a book, you publish the book, it's out there, it's done. That book can continue to earn money for you for a very long time to come. So this becomes one of those times when great ideas can come about, great insights can come about as well, but also great opportunity. And if you already have a lot of things already in place, this can be a time when you find yourself being that much more able to attract large sums of money based on what you've already put out there. Where it comes to matters of love, Venus continues right at the very top of your sky. So Venus is continuing to move and making a very sweet connection with Jupiter. This to me suggests a couple of things. One is if you're in an established bond, your partner might have some really good news. They might have some really good financial news that ultimately benefits you, or they may just be really generous and bless you with a gift that just delights you. Okay, so that's a very strong possibility if you are in an established bond. If you're open to meeting someone new, really the way to go is big, right? The way to go is to think about where you're going in your dreams, summon your ambition energy, and that makes you that much more attractive. So think about what it is that you really desire to do. What are you enthusiastic about? Where is it that you could be putting yourself out there more? And work on that, particularly when other people become involved, because that way you are able to then attract that many more people in the process of doing something that you genuinely love. Venus at the very top of your sky is saying, if you want to be beautiful, right? And of course, prosperous, if you want to feel good about yourself, if you want to attract great things to you, go big, go for the dream, go for what you really want in life. Think about your life purpose and align yourself with that. And then someone who fits into that picture can come along and fit right in. But this also could be, I gotta say, on a very immediate level, this also could be meeting somebody, attracting somebody into your life right about now, right about in the later part of the week. Someone who comes with a lot of money, someone who's a boss, someone who's in a position of authority, and all of that represents in some way where it is that you desire to go. And at the same time, this person is coming in with an element of power and prosperity. And there's something about that. You know, when a person has accomplished a certain amount, the energy shifts, the energy changes, and you're not a superficial soul at all. And yet you may find yourself very drawn to one of these types of people. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have got a very active sky, your ancient ruling planets getting lots of love in your opposite sign. In many ways, love is the big theme. Love is a huge theme right about now. So what's happening on levels of partnership? If you are in a partnership, you're feeling the love, you're wanting more as well. If you are open to meeting someone new, you've got so much cosmic support to make that happen. And I really think, yeah, there's other stuff happening in the sky. There's lots of friendship energy happening as well. But I actually think matters of heart are going to rule this week for you for a lot of reasons. One is we have got, as I mentioned, to the Capricornians, I said, you know, like Pisces also, the full moon. This is about flirting. This is about someone you're dating. This is about meeting someone new. This is about the feelings of love, the hope that love brings. It's also about seeing with rose-colored glasses as well, but you know, it looks like you're enjoying it, so why not? And all of this is happening as we move towards the later part of the week. So this can be a really great time to be available, to meet new people, to try new experiences. If you are in an established bond, that is where Jupiter becomes that much more dominant. Jupiter right now moving through your opposite sign is helping you to feel the love, helping you to heal what has been, be open to what could be. And this is a very, very promising sky for solidifying the connection you have, having the type of conversation, or at least being with this person in a social moment, a social experience where you see this other side of them that just makes you love them even more. And this also really can be a sense that you're really moving forward as well with this person. What I love about this week for you is that your heart is very much on your sleeve. Your heart is very much on the surface. And you are being honest with yourself about it. You feel it. You're like, you know, yeah, I do want love. I do want to feel greater love in my life. And that ownership ensures that more opportunities show up for you. And that clarity ensures that the love you have is made that much stronger. But more importantly, that much sweeter as well. So while there's so much happening in the context of love, also at the same time, like I said, friendships are an area of life that might be getting your attention. Friendships, I've been saying this to you, this is going to be an ongoing theme, right? Especially now that Mercury's in shadow, will be retrograde, will go direct. Friends and money, just be mindful of that, okay? This is not the time to mix the two. So it looks like there's a part of you that does want to feel generous, that is feeling generous, that's great. Give from a very honest place from within you. However, if you feel that, you know, there's some kind of expectation, just be a little bit mindful of that, because it looks like something, it's possible that a friend gives you a gift that is possibly in a different value place than what you give, and that can sort of lead to some interesting energy. Doesn't mean anything has to be spoken, but that can create an interesting dynamic there, the disparity. So what you want to do is, if you're giving from an honest place, a heartfelt place, if you feel good as you are giving, then that's always good. Like, that has a way of just soothing over just about anything. And should anything arise with a friend, very small possibility, but if anything should, really, a conversation will set things right. There's so much honest, heartfelt energy this week. While most of you are going to be experiencing this on a very romantic way, whether it's with someone new or getting your flirt on, or with the person that you're with right now, really all that loving energy can be, you know, benefited. Every part of your life can benefit from that. So allow that to happen. Allow those conversations to happen. You'd be amazed how saying the right thing at the right time in the right moment can just change just about everything. At the very least, a conversation will have you thinking a whole new way about a lot of different areas of life. And that's a really good consideration to have at this time of year as you're moving further into the fresh start, right? A fresh start that all of us are preparing for, coming up really very soon. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.